Chapter 1. I mean, it's either a 35-page essay with no chapters, or it has chapters because it's broken up into themes. Chapter 1, I'll give you a brief outline. I guess I should probably do an introduction, huh? Start over. Welcome. This is my essay, The Sovereign Architecture. I think it's a part of a solution that can hopefully stand the test of times, because what we are finding out that oftentimes we build systems on false foundations, and sometimes we might have the best intentions, we might be trying to do the best we can, but the stuff still fails because the foundation isn't quite as solid as we think. So over the course of months, after having written a couple books, I've been working on this essay, because if I have a consulting company and we cater to giving good business advice and leadership advice to people that manage systems and companies, and some of them have, I don't know, 100, 200, 300 families relying on those companies, right, to be doing good. So the leader sometimes needs advice. And so, but then a ruler of a country might need advice. A king or a princess might need advice, right? And at the core of it all, there's some simple foundational truths. And as humans, we aim to interact with humans, right? This is yet another fucking long-ass introduction, but this is why I wrote this. The sovereign architecture is more of a reminder that a human is a human, should he choose to acknowledge that he is allowed and he's made to kind of be more of an impressive creature than just, I don't know, than just exist. Exist and fade, right? I existed, I ate some food, I slept, I hunted for some pussy, and then I died. That'd be kind of a disappointing way to experience 75 years of awareness on average. Anyways, the preface was like blah blah blah. Chapter 1 is foundation over feelings. Feelings don't scale, standards do. Every failing organization has a soft foundational problem. Leaders must choose truth over comfort, especially early. What you tolerate becomes your operating system. Cool. Little 4-minute clip. I can clip it off here for the early leavers. However, let's dive into chapter 1. Core claim. Sustainable performance is built on standards, not emotions. Most leaders don't fail because they're cruel or incompetent. They fail because they confuse empathy with architecture. They feel deeply, they care genuinely, they want people to like them, and slowly, without realizing it, they begin managing feelings instead of foundations. This is where the erosion starts. And then we go into the real world problem. Emotional leadership does not scale. In the early stages of a business, emotions feel like strength. Everyone's close, everyone's invested, decisions are quick and personal. But as pressure increases, deadlines, payroll, clients' growth, emotions become unstable ground. Standards bend depend on who's asking. Accountability gets postponed to avoid discomfort. Poor performance is understood instead of corrected. Leaders absorb stress instead of designing systems to handle it. Nothing breaks immediately. That's the danger. The organization continues functioning just with hairline cracks forming everywhere. And cracks don't announce themselves, they wait for load, right? As soon as we get busy, as soon as a few too many people are having a bad day, as soon as fear of being fired happens, stuff kind of starts shaking in the workplace, right? And that's because we know, technically, sometimes we're walking on eggshells because we let a lot of sloppy behavior slide. And if that happens in a small Vietnamese restaurant with 4 or 5 people working, maybe a couple hundred clients coming in a week, and and a crazy boss, right? And you're walking on eggshells. Well, imagine what it feels like for governments to be doing that, for your local city officials and police and school board, all of that just kind of function with hairline cracks, knowing that okay, a lot of sloppy behavior goes unnoticed. We're just gonna continue as everything as usual. And then one day we need the resources, right? We need the money that got stolen and we overlooked it, and we're like, fuck, we really needed that money. Or we really needed the somebody trustworthy, or we really needed just something that was cracked a while ago and we didn't address it, right? Because we're trying to be easy and likable and non-confrontational. Feelings are not load bearing. In construction, no one argues with physics. In construction, no one argues with physics. You don't ask steel how it feels today. You don't hope concrete cures correctly. You don't motivate a foundation into holding the weight. You design it to spec, or the building fails. Leadership works the same way. Feelings are real, but they're not structural. They change daily. They fluctuate under pressure. They cannot be relied on in crisis. The standard, however, are repeatable, are teachable, are enforceable, survive bad days and hard conversations. A leader's job is not to eliminate emotion, is to build systems that doesn't depend on emotional stability to function. When foundations are strong, people feel safer, performance improves, trust increases, and stress decreases. Paradoxically, structure creates peace. Boom, boom, boom. It's quite a long chapter. There's a lot of meat and potatoes on the subject, right? And the gist of it is, in a business, in a structure, in a society, in a family unit, in a church, foundations over feelings, right? Catering to each other's moods is kind of how we stray too far, I think. And I'm not just talking about my own workplaces. I refuse to go to quite a few churches, right? Because I see some inconsistencies and I'm like, oh, I grew up with your kid. you know? Or my brother's a pastor. I know exactly what kind of stuff these self-proclaimed priestly people are into, right? And there's just a lot of secrecy, right? So there's a lot of mistrust because there's a lot of incongruences. And yeah, we could feel threatened about it, but we could also start thinking about it and addressing it because we want our structures to last. That's I'm not here to fucking judge you little ignorant fucks. I'm like, we need some better structures. We need some better leadership. We need some better fucking morals around here. Like, anyways, free information on my website, LXMNV.com. It might expire. I don't really have a desire to keep telling you this stuff because at some point it's kind of for your boss. It's kind of for your city official to be aware of this shit, right? It's not really for majority of us. So weird shit I kind of think about sometimes, and therefore make content. Because what else is there to do, right? I could either watch content or watch my content. All right, have a good day. I'll be back in a different shirt with the chapter 2. I'm sure I ain't got shit to do today.